And welcome back, everyone. This is episode 23. We're still in the land of Penta, but this time we're moving from down below to the up above. So we're starting with future focus. Before we do that, let's say hi to everyone. We have our usual and then some extra crew here. So Vanessa, it's springtime. Warm weather's here. I'm so excited.
Yay, I'm
Turn it over
excited
to you.
for you guys. Warm weather never left here, but that's how it is when you live in the tropics. Just
That's
getting
true.
even warmer. So welcome everyone to BG5 Live, the show for BG5 and human design professionals, students, and enthusiasts who want a deeper understanding on how to apply human design to business so that they can thrive in their own careers and support their clients in doing the same. And we have our lovely Banu here today. We're working on the 731 strength, which Banu has the 31, Mike has the 7. I don't have either one of them, so I'm just going to be like a fly on the wall and maybe talk about what I've observed from time to time. And of course, we also have our lovely Sarah. So excited to have you guys all here. And yeah, let's get started.
Yeah, before we do, so Bano, you just completed the first semester of OC16. We'd love to hear your experiences. How was it? I know that it's your first time teaching it, but you have a lot of experience with it, both in your corporate life and your previous career, as well as just learning this material. So how has your experience been?
Thank you so much for that question, Mike. It's just been such a great experience going over it. Just going through the details, and there's so much detail into the OC16, of course. And what happens is the knowledge is a different knowledge set, actually. So it's not like you can't refer back to everything you know from the past with that. So there's a lot of new learning in the OC16 and how we can really apply. And I was blessed with a very good cohort, a lot of people with experience from the corporate world. And we applied the knowledge together. So it's just been great. I'm really looking forward to semester 2. Meanwhile, we also concluded a BG5 certification class. My students are now it was a crowded class, about 20 people. So they're turning in their projects now and being certified. So I feel blessed now. It's a time of gratitude, and when they are like celebration as well as they're graduating.
Yeah. That sounds so good. That sounds so good. I'm really happy for you. Congratulations. So you have 2 more semesters of OC16?
Yes, exactly. So we're going to dive now. The first semester of OC16 is about understanding the basics, understanding the power bases and what they really mean, and how do we map them to the business world in real life, like roles that we see and the business drivers that we see. Semester 2 and 3 is when we start moving into how do you really apply it to a person in the corporate world? How do you look at an alpha? And then we start the group engineering. So when we start configuring the pentas and how do we really use the advantage of the transauric mechanics that are happening in the background for business success. So that's the point we're in. We're going to start that in this semester, and I'm really excited to be doing that.
Yeah, me too. So you probably don't know this, but Vanessa and I just enlisted you because we want to, once we finish the Penta Skills, we're going to start moving into OC16. So whether you like it or not, you're going to be a permanent guest here for at least the next couple of months. So
I'm honored. Thank you for the invitation. I would love to be. And like, I was like, who but me? Of course.
Who but you, right? Who but you? Yeah, good. All right. Sarah, how you doing today? Nice to see you as always.
Yes, good to see you. I guess I'm a permanent member of the BG5 Live crew, which is such an honor. So thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So you'll notice in Sarah's design, she doesn't have the 731, but Sarah is someone who has a lot of leadership experience, as well as Vanessa. So even though they don't have either the 7 or the 31, which we'll be talking about, we'll get to hear your experiences. And I know, Sarah, that you've had a lot, and you're also in a leadership role within the Institute. So Love to hear your contributions as well.
And the
All
one
right, let's start diving in. Go
She does
ahead.
have the 1-8, which is a leadership strength. So
Yes. Thank you for pointing that out, Vanessa. Yes. So Vanessa's also, she's pointing to an interesting phenomenon in the body graph. So from the identity function to the communication action, any one of those, actually 4 strengths that go directly from identity to communication, they are leadership roles, and each one of them plays a different role within the Penta. So that's exciting too. Thanks for that reminder, Vanessa. All right. So the 731, this is a very future-oriented strength, both just personally and within the Penta. So let's give a little bit background and where we're going, and we'll get into some of the details. So we know that the traits in the pentazone also convert to skills as soon as you step into a penta, which is essentially a small group. This time we're moving from the bottom parts and we're looking upwards. So we're going to be looking at, over the next 2 weeks, 2 sessions after this, 731, 18, and 1333. So the 731 is very forward looking, okay? So we know, when we're just talking about the upper, so we know that it's divided into 2. The 2 parts operate very differently. They represent different responsibilities. Lower penta, internal workings. Upper penta is the external expression of a small group. So this is where the group interfaces with the public, with their customers, with their clients. So you can think of it that simply. Upper pentagraph is where the penta demonstrates itself. Again, outer expression. We can do it through 3 ways, which I just mentioned. 731 is planning administration. The 1333 is accounting oversight. And the 18, which Sarah has, is implementation and public relation. This is where people must be given roles. Again, these 3 are leadership roles that people get to play. So upper pentagraph skills operate similar in the sense of the strength types. Each one of these strength types is, as we know, it's an advisor, a projected strength, which means you're designed to be recognized for these particular qualities. Like all advisor strengths, these are based on timing, waiting to be asked to share or exhibit these qualities. And these are the roles we play. All right. Our little keynotes for the 7 and the 31. The 7 converts, instead of going from leadership, instead of being just leadership, it's now more forward focused to the concept, the idea of planning. This is the ability to move forward successfully into the future through planning, research and development, having the right people doing the right work. It's about identifying what needs to happen as we move forward. Very specific. This is also in the logic thematic circuit. And so we can see that this is also very systematized as well. The 31 turns into administration. This is the ability to put the plan into action by making sure everyone fills the roles and does the work necessary. It's the ability to be organized and stay on top of things. So I have the 7, so I'll be speaking from that perspective, and Banu gets to speak from the 31. And then we get to hear from Vanessa and Sarah about their experiences working with, experiencing different leaders who have or don't have this. So we get to hear all kinds of perspectives. Vanessa, can I turn this over to you now?
sure. So grade 7, planning and leadership. So this is the one that Mike has in his design. So as an individual, this is the leader. And once we bring it into a small group, it's about planning in the Penta. And so as a personal trait, the leader is really someone who's meant to lead others into the future when recognized and asked to do so. And they have the ability to really step up and lead. And the style of leadership is really dictated by the line quality value. So Mike will have to tell us about his line quality in this when we get to that part. So it's logical leadership that can change the way that things are done or alter the direction forward. And it is elected leadership. So again, this is an advisor strength or trait or a projected gate. So it is about being elected, being recognized, and helping others move forward into the future with confidence. And then once this trait moves into a small group, it becomes the skill of planning. And it's about helping the group move forward successfully into the future through planning, research and development, having the right people doing the right work, identifying logically what needs to happen as we move forward. And it allows the group to invest in research and development so that they can have the tools that ensure future success. So obviously, this is a very important part of a small group. It's about understanding the marketplace, understanding what your customer wants, keeping up with progress, about planning schedules, resources, ensuring that the right people are doing the right work at the right time to serve the customer's needs. And it's an ongoing process that helps maintain momentum to provide a future for the business.
Thanks, Vanessa. Let me, I'll take it, I'll share my experiences and then anyone else can chime in with this. So I am an express builder, 3420. It's my only strength. Consciously, I have the trait 7, line quality 5. So the 5th line quality, as we know, is the messenger. It's also I think of it in terms of very practical leadership. So this type of leader with the 5th line quality is someone who comes in times of needs, helps fix, helps guide, helps show a direction, and then ideally steps away. Elsewise, because if you stay too long in that leadership position, then your reputation can begin to suffer. And I've had experiences like this. So what I'm going to do really quickly is I'm going to go back and just go through and I'll share experiences so you can get a sense of what this is like. So with trait 7, again, this is conscious for me. I have had experiences even as a young child where I would just be looked to as you're the leader. I actually had an experience when I grew up, I was in one of those neighborhoods where there was probably 50 kids in the neighborhood. And my house was this kind of hub where a lot of kids joined. Elementary school had this experience. We were playing all around and these boys are playing basketball and the girls are doing something else. And we have this kind of mix of ages. And then suddenly my sister and her friends were wrestling with a ball. And they turned to me and says, Mike, who has the ball? Whose ball is it? I literally was confused, like, why are you asking me? And then they said to me, oh, you're the leader of us. You're the leader of the group. That was the first time. It was just crazy that they had recognized something that I actually didn't even think of myself as a leader in that way. So anyone with the 7 or the 731 especially is going to be recognized pretty much in any group situation that you are. It's key, and this is the thing that Vanessa just talked about, this idea of elected leadership. If a 7 tries to grasp leadership, there's a good chance there's going to be a lot of pushback or resistance. Within groups, this is what I've noticed again for myself, successfully helping groups move forward into the future through planning. What I notice is the way that my experience of the 7 within groups is I tend to see the bigger picture. If I get too mired in the details, I get lost. And so what happens is if I step back and look, okay, this is where we're moving forward. And then what happens from there is I've had a lot of experiences when I can take people who are on my team and say, okay, you do this, you do this, you do this. Because as long as I can hold the big picture vision, I can help people, okay, you should play this role, you should play this role, you should play that role. And so that has worked out really well. Again, if I get too mired in the details, I get lost. So I like to step back and hear from the three of you, any experiences of leadership that you've witnessed or experienced or would like to share?
Could you go back to the last slide?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I would just share my experience with Mike. I mean, he is a natural leader. I didn't even know the guy, but he emailed me one time and I asked Linda, I said, who's Mike Brown? And she explained how he used to teach at the Institute when it was part of the IHDS. And I said, well, I think maybe he should come back and teach. And so we asked him and we met, and just instant good feeling about him. And it's just funny because I do feel like Mike is here at the Institute at the right timing to play a bigger role as a leader for the Institute, and especially using his trait 7. So we'll see how it unfolds, but I do believe it's not a coincidence that he has that, and I think we need it. And then just looking at too our students and moving into the future, I think we all see human design has taken off in a really big way in the last 3 to 5 years. And you know, BG5 will get there as well, but many people are tagging it as human design for business. And I think Mike has a good handle on the market and what people want and where we're going. And I think that he's going to be a really important key piece in the Institute planning its way into the future. So we'll see how it unfolds, and stay tuned.
Well, thank you, Sarah. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hmm.
I'll also say that, you know, working with Mike from when I first discovered him through taking one of the free webinars through the Institute, like I also right away recognized how practical his way of teaching / leading is. And that is something I definitely wanted to explore more, which is how, it's a long story, but how we ended up working together as I became his TA, and then he invited me into doing BG5 Live with him. So I definitely have a lot of experience working with Mike as a leader, and also observing him in many different classes where I've been his TA, and how he leads the students and guides the students in a really practical way. And also in a way that's different, because I have taken with a variety of different instructors at the Institute. And of course, everybody has their own style and does things in different ways. And the way that Mike teaches, especially bringing in the coaching aspect and everything that he covers in his classes in a way that's super practical that people can use right away, is definitely one of the ways that I also see this in him.
Thanks, Vanessa. Yeah. Pano, I'd love to hear your perspective. You have the 31. Just what have you noticed about the 7 traits? Just
Yeah, so I think I'd like to speak to the business, like the more team aspect of it. And I wanted to share an example. One of my students who just graduated from the certification, and she runs a team at an NGO. She's the director of some a team that goes and works with partners. And it's very interesting looking at her team and how their Penta comes along. She was the only one in the team that had this skill of planning. And she's an advisor, so she's supposed to, in theory, of course, we want the leader, the alpha, be an advisor and stay out of the workings, day-to-day workings of the group, so they can do the work and the alpha can really direct and lead and oversee the business. But she happened to be the only one in the team that had this, and constantly it was about her who had to do the planning. What are we going to do next year? How are we going to plan for the budget? How are we going to make sure we get more budget into our team so we can use it on our side of the business? How are we going to work with some, she was actually looking for research firms to do some social like analysis so they could use it to back up. So they would get more funding to pass out to the partners, and then they can actually do some goodness in the society through this NGO. But it was her, and it really got to her, because once you're locked in a team like this, in a Penta, whoever has the skill kind of does it on behalf of the team, or it's just like derived out of you that way. It's an important task. And if you're an alpha, it's important that you make sure some people from your team have these skills. It would be great if you could come to that configuration. So that's what I wanted to share on this one.
That's really a good nuance. Yeah, I appreciate hearing that. Because I'm actually not a team person, I have very little skill leading groups the way your friend did over long periods of time. I don't actually think I'd be good at it. Number one, just being in a team when I'm not suited for it, but that constant kind of living in that projection field of being a leader.
But I
So
wonder
makes-
if it's that you wouldn't be good at it or you just wouldn't like it, you know, therefore you would not be good at it. Because you do have
Good
to do what
point.
you love.
Yes, good point. Good point, Sarah. All right, we're going to move on to the 31. This is Vanessa. I'm going to turn it back over to you.
I am muted. I was muted. Sorry. So we have administration and influence in trait 31. And the slide, if anybody that's watching was thought that you had the 29 highlighted on the slide. So the 31 is actually in the communication and action function. So it is influence in the individual and administration when we are working in a small group. And for the individual, this is about someone who's designed to be influential, and there's a talent and skill to provide a vision for a new direction and then show people how to do it without necessarily doing it for them. This is a communication and action trait. So this is very much about speaking and saying things verbally. This is where the influence comes from. And there, you want to take into account the need and desires of your followers. Again, this area is elected leadership. Timing is essential here. So good timing equals more influence, and being asked lets you know that others are ready to hear what you have to say. So again, this is an advisor trait, an advisor skill. So recognition and invitation is very helpful here. And then when we move this into a small group, the skill of administration, it's the ability to put the plan into action by making sure everyone fills their roles and does the necessary work. It's about being organized, staying on top of things, being able to take the plan and actually put it into action through the role of administration. So again, this is the skill of administration in a small group. And it's giving everyone a role to fulfill so the plan can be carried out. And it's about helping groups administer plans, the plans that business develops, and it's about carrying out the plan. So while the 7 does the planning, the 31 is carrying it out. There's a business service aspect, developing systems and policies for servicing the customer service, and having things like a chain of command, policies, employee manuals that make the business more efficient. So again, administration lives in this skill when it is in a small group.
So Banu, you have the 31 in line quality 1. So I'd love to hear your experiences of how you experienced 31, and just tell me which slide, if anywhere you want to be.
Well, maybe we could stay on my chart. That's okay.
Okay.
So I think from a personal perspective, first of all, this is influence. And the way it has unfolded for me in terms of what I did, I worked in the corporate world for 25 years, and it came in handy because sometimes when you want things done in business, even like as a manager, for example, I wanted to look for funds for my region so we could develop our business better. It's a skill that you can really use on the personal level to influence so you can lead. Yeah. So it doesn't mean you have to be the leader or you got to lead, but if you can influence, through that influence, you can actually manage how things are done. So during my corporate work, it came very handy because I would go to, for example, I was the program manager managing 72 countries in Middle East and Africa to run a program. And I went to, so the cycle works like you implement in the field, but in the previous fiscal year, you want to go to the corporate people who work at Corp. So they put like some funds for you into their planning so you can spend it in the following fiscal year. So now the influence part comes in very handy, because then I could really put together programs, take the plan, go convince them that our region is the region to invest in, and we're going to give them a better return on investment. So it's good in convincing people. It comes in really handy. And when you're able to put things on perspective, and me being the advisor that I am, looking at the big picture, how it's going to help the corporation in general, it's come in very, very handy. Also on the personal level, this is about, as you see, it sits in the communication and action, and it gives you a voice. So I have a determined voice. And this one says, I lead. And I lead in things that I am sure of. So if I know what I'm talking about, then I can lead. So leading the program, for example, or leading my team and making sure the investment is being done in a way that will serve the company are the things that I can really speak. And then it becomes convincing as well. Yeah, so it's the natural part of how I speak. On the Penta side of things, so when I come to more of the group dynamics, this one is actually being on top of things, of course, and making sure everybody is running the plan. So we're on top of things. So that's a skill that came in very handy in me being a people manager, because you have people working in different countries. They're responsible for a different set of things that they got to do. And somebody needs to master the plan and execute. Right? And when you're doing it with multiple geographies, a lot of people, you got numbers to deliver, it becomes an important skill. Somebody needs to do it for the team. Otherwise, you can lose the big picture. Everybody gets carried in their own thing, but we can lose the overall thing that was asked of this team from the company. Another part of this, and I don't think maybe we have that on the slide, but this one is also, as you see, it's on the upper side of the Penta. So then this is like an external facing part. So this is something that we as this team are going to speak to the outside. Yes, this is how we externalize at this point in time. So then this one says, this team is so on top of things, you can trust us. We're going to give you good execution. We're going to take care of our clients. We're professional in the things that we do. So it brings a lot of trust to the outside. So for me as well, it was very good to have this, because then in the hierarchy, the elders or the other managers who were responsible of thinking like, okay, you can have these funds, this is what you can do, or you can hire some more people to run this business. They would always, I was successful in getting those approved in a way, because then you can establish trust for that team if you have this within that team. So these are the ways that I have really, it's come in very handy in my work life, in the corporate life, to be able to get, influence and get trust built. So my teams would be invested and we could deliver things. Yeah, when it kind of in the OC16 round 2, the 31 maps to logical enforcement, which is running the processes. And making sure that things are happening. So having the right rules, managing it correctly. So it all ties down. It's a very handy skill set to have in business, I think. And it's helped me a lot. So yes, I spoke a lot, but yes, there's a lot to say on everything. Yeah.
One of the things when I look at your chart, and Vanessa, you can jump in too here, which I'm really fascinated with. So you're what we call a collaborative assimilator. So human design terms of split definition. So you have the lower and upper split off, but the communication is probably the center point, the focal point when I look at your design, because it just seems so powerful. And the 31 is only one of your voices, which I find really powerful, because when you speak, I hear the influence, but it's not so much just the words you say, it's a frequency that your voice carries. And it's backed up by experience. So you have the 64, 47, and then your your insights are really, sometimes they feel like really powerful. They bring change into the world. So that's another way that I see that your influence shows up. Do you experience it like that?
Yeah, well, thank you, Mike, for highlighting that. Yes, so when you look at my communication and action and my definition there, so my voices are, apart from I lead, is that I know and I believe. That's the 23 and the 56. So I'm very good at speaking about what I really know and also what I believe in. And that comes a little bit from my experience and what I've learned and what I've experienced as well. Just like you said, and when Ra was speaking about in detail around how the voices come out, it's not just the voice, but it's the frequency and the whole aura, and you as a person that gets it across. It's not just in the acoustic side of things. And yes, so yeah, and I think it's helped me being the teacher that I am, being the consultant that I am. Because that's what I disseminate across is the feedback I get. Yeah.
Yeah, powerful voice.
So something
Vanessa,
that
would you go
I'm
ahead?
noticing about your design is that all of your bridging traits, which technically with your design are your biggest areas of conditioning, form leadership strengths. And I'm so curious, like how you've experienced that throughout your career in your design. So with the 8, the 7, and the 20.
Yeah. So I think just taking a step back, me being an advisor, I'm already here to guide. So I think that's been a big part of what I've done in my work life, being guiding. Yes, even when I wasn't a people manager or managing teams and people reporting to me, I would lead in a way that came naturally. Let me put it that way. On my bridging traits, I think the one that kind of like really stood out for me was the 8 is the most influential one I've had, especially in the business life, because when I worked for leaders, and I happened to work with leaders who had the 8, they were the ones who actually went and promoted me to higher leadership. So every time when I got promoted, it was always through somebody that had the 8. My direct manager would have the 8, and then they would do my PR. Is something that I don't like doing. So when you have the 1, you like doing the things, you're very creative, you get things done, but you don't want to promote yourself. So I don't like marketing myself. But when you have somebody with the 8 who can promote you, it really happens. So that's something that's really played out big time in my corporate life, working with leaders that had the 8 and that coming out.
That's a good symbiotic relationship. Wow. Having people promote your leadership and your influence. That's a
I
good
actually
skill.
have the 8 in quality 5. So double messenger, I like to call it.
That's a good trait to have as well in the business world. I think they all are, but some speak more because then, the 8 is a good one to have, or connecting with people who have it. And I'm lucky because I'm like, that's how my design works. I'm designed to attract those people with the 8. So if I can live true to my design, I'm automatically gonna attract them anyways. So it's good to know.
Yeah, definitely. Sarah, do you want to share anything or that you've seen or noticed about 31s or Bono in particular?
Yeah, I mean, she said it so well, though. I think we can all agree that it's not leaving too much more for me to say, but I will say just, I guess, personal and group wise, I think it's what makes her such a phenomenal teacher. And we hear it time and time again from her students and certification. She really guides them through this transformation process and their ability to work with clients. And she shares very applicable stories, just like she did today, of how to use this information in the business world. And so I just think, we all can think of a teacher that influenced us at some point in time. And I think Banu in particular, having the 31 makes her one of those teachers for people. And then just looking at it from a team perspective, I mean, like this just hits the nail on the head. her ability to stay organized and on top of things. She is very organized and she is very on top of things and very professional. She'll always follow up. She makes suggestions to Alina and I just on how we can, you know, have better administrative processes, listening to her students, looking at the big picture, how we can streamline things. And she's definitely an asset to our team, given that 31. And so if you're missing some of these things in your business, especially with administration, I mean, it's a serious gap. So, you know, work with a BG5 consultant, take a course, learn more, and start experimenting with people that you know who have these traits or not. And like Banu said, when you're missing something, you attract it. So for example, with our team at the Institute, we were missing the 15 and the 46, and Veronica came in to train as an instructor, kept thinking of her, and sure enough, she had what the team needed. So it's really interesting to see how that all plays out in real life. And it's not something that you have to orchestrate, it just comes together. So very happy to have Banu and Mike a part of the team. I just wished we were in Aura because that would be a whole other experience to see how that would work, having the 731 together with you too.
Yeah, that'd be formidable. Well, it is kind of formidable.
Well,
I love it.
it's a secret dream of mine that we're going to have an in-person retreat one day. So stay
Oh, yeah.
tuned.
Oh yeah, that's gonna happen. That's gonna happen at some point. I'm excited about it. So Vanessa, anything you want to add before we begin signing off?
So this is just on a more personal, familial level with the 31. So my mom, who was an initiator, and she did have the 2145, she had the 31 3 times. And my dad, who was a classic builder, had the 31 once, and nobody in our family had the 7. So there was not a lot of planning, and there were a lot of chefs in the kitchen, and let's just say it did not end very well. But I actually just had to look their charts. I'm like, I feel like I never really had the 31 around. And I was like, oh, actually, you've had it around quite a bit.
That's a good story. That's a good story. Banu, thank you for showing up on our show. We're going to hopefully see a lot more of you in the future. I loved hearing your experience of the 31.
Well, thank you. Thank you so
And-
much for the invitation.
And Banu is teaching certification soon, May 8th, right?
Yeah, May 7th or 8th is when I
It's
start. Yeah,
7th.
it's close. Yeah.
Mhm. So if you
Yeah.
want to experience her in real life, she really believes in this information and she has a lot of experience to back up what she says. I think you'll really enjoy it. So feel free to contact the office if you need help registering or register directly on the site. And Banu will go into much more detail about all of these traits and strengths as we see them in a Penta.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Okay, we are at BG5 Live. We are going to be taking a break of 2 weeks. So we'll be back in May on the 13th and the 27th. So we're going to be doing, during the month of May, we'll complete the Penta circuit. And then we'll be going into OC16. We'll be taking a break later in the summer and we'll be back in the fall. So come and join us for the last 4 sessions. And then we'll have a summer break and then we'll be back. So thank you, everyone. Great to have you on the show. Look forward to seeing you in the future. Thanks, everyone, and bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.